Hello, and welcome back. Practical effects have been around for almost as long as movie making has. The argument of practical over digital effects is almost as old as the GIF versus GIF battle. Today is not for that. No. I'd like to take some time to highlight and introduce the Godfather of body horror, the all-knowing practical effects mastermind, David Cronenberg! If you don't know who this guy is, well, shame on you. But if you really didn't know, David Cronenberg is a twisted genius responsible for making audiences squirm in their seats with films like The Fly, Videodrome, and Scanners. A great modern day example of it that I just watched is The Substance. It's with its body horror and grotesque, fleshy scenes. Have you ever seen someone's head explode in slow motion, complete with chunks of goo and brain matter? Yeah, that's Cronenberg for you. Just for some context of how great this guy is, if you've ever seen a slimy, grotesque transformation on screen and thought, that looks disturbingly real, there's a good chance that Cronenberg inspired that. Take The Fly, for example. Jeff Goldblum's slow, agonizing transformation into this human-fly hybrid isn't just horrifying, it's disgustingly tangible. The peeling skin, oozing fluids, and progressive disfigurement are practical effects at their finest, crafted to make you physically uncomfortable. Now compare that to modern films like The Thing 2011 reboot, which opted for CGI. The difference is almost night and day. Cronenberg's work feels wet, sticky, but mostly real.
Videodrome is really a strange film, and we have to do some pretty disgusting things in this movie. For example, we're doing a makeup effect on a TV set. We have like a change-o TV that becomes flesh and grows veins and musculature, and it moves and undulates and all kinds of horrible things happen to it. We've never done any effects quite like we're doing in Videodrome.
Cronenberg's genius lies in his ability to blend the visceral and the psychological. His effects aren't just gross for the sake of being gross. They're a reflection of his character's fears, desires, and unraveling humanity. Take Videodrome, for instance. The scene where James Woods' character is developing a gaping, fleshy cavity in his stomach. It's not there to make you gag, though it will. It's a physical manifestation of his mind being consumed by technology. That's what I think, anyway. Sound familiar? That's because Cronenberg laid the groundwork for a whole subgenre of body horror that continues to influence directors today. Look at Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan. The use of body disfigurement as a metaphor for psychological torment is pure Cronenberg DNA. Or even the 2017 Shape of Water, where Guillermo del Toro's creature effects absolutely echo Cronenberg's ability to make the grotesque feel oddly intriguing.
Gary took a big shotgun and lied down behind the dummy, pointed it like right there, and then he blew the hell out of it.
Obviously, Cronenberg didn't work alone on his effects. He surrounded himself with some of the best in the business, the likes of Rick Baker and Chris Wallace. These guys were legends, and they brought their A-game to make sure Cronenberg's nightmarish visions came to life.
Out, goddammit. Okay, rip that sucker off. Get mad. Pull. Keep going. Cut.
Rick Baker, the genius behind Videodrome, made sure things like the pulsing organic video cassette TV were just as gross as they sound. Latex, air bladders, and animatronics were the go-to materials. It kind of sounds like the grossest science project ever imaginable. Chris Wallace was responsible for Jeff Goldblum's slow transformation into The Fly. And let me tell you, the Academy loved it. The man won an Oscar award for his grotesque visual work. Turning a dude into half a fly and getting rewarded for it sounds like a dream come true. There are multiple techniques involved in creating The Fly. You don't just throw some prosthetics on a guy and call it a day. Layered effects were key in making the effects look grosser and grosser and somehow more believable. Prosthetics were used in The Fly to turn Jeff Goldblum into an abomination over the course of the film. In this photo, you can see how the makeup artists worked their asses off, putting in 7 different stages to make him progressively more and more repulsive and fly-like. Animatronics were key to those brutal arm wrestling scenes. We're talking about a robotic arm breaking or bending in a certain way that looks way too real for comfort. And lastly, the use of puppeteering was huge in the making of the full space bug that you see towards the end of the movie. The Fly required weeks of sculpting and testing for every prosthetic that was molded to Jeff Goldblum's face, as well as the puppeteering took a long time to master and really work out. Every prosthetic was carefully molded to match the progression of Seth Brundle's transformation, and that wasn't easy to pull off, especially when you have 7 stages of nastiness. Mr. Cronenberg didn't really care about CGI. He was all about practical effects. He preferred having something real on set that he could feel, touch, and manipulate. CGI wasn't really something he relied on until later in his career, and even then it was used sparingly. When you've got something like the Brundle Fly transformation, you don't need a computer to tell you what's gross. You just need real-world effects. I mean, look at this. Let's throw in some more recent comparisons. The Fly's grotesque transformation sequence is echoed in Annihilation 2018, during the infamous bear scene, where a mutated creature fuses with its victims. The unsettling detail, the blending of human and inhuman elements, I mean, Cronenberg practically wrote the textbook for this type of horror. Cronenberg's influence isn't just a relic of the past, it's alive and thriving in modern filmmaking today. He showed that practical effects aren't just about gross out moments, they're a storytelling tool. Every squelch, ooze, and transformation serves a purpose in his movies, often blurring the line between man and monsters in ways that resonate far beyond the horror genre. In The Fly, it's not just a movie about a man turning into an insect. It's a metaphor for disease, aging, and the loss of control over one's body. When Jeff Goldblum peels off his fingernails or vomits corrosive enzymes, it's not just gross. It's a gut-punching reminder of his humanity slowly slipping away. Now comparing that to 2022's The Whale, it's a drama, but Brendan Fraser's prosthetics serve a similar purpose. They're not just a physical prosthetic, they're emotional. The weight and physicality of his character's body mirrors his inner struggles, just as Cronenberg's effect always reflect the emotional core of his characters.
Long live the new flesh.
Cronenberg's body horror wasn't just about shocking you with crazy visuals. The guy wanted to get under your skin, literally and figuratively. Every gross effect had psychological weight. In Scanners, the famous head explosion scene wasn't shot just for fun. Although it was badass and awesome, it was a visual representation of the consequences of psychic power gone awry. This nickname, shotgun head scene, in Scanners wasn't just about shooting fake blood at a dummy. They actually recreated a real head to explode convincingly on screen. They stuffed it with offal, latex, and gelatin, and blew it up with an actual shotgun. Now that's dedication to the craft. Cronenberg didn't just make audiences uncomfortable, he wanted to make them think. Here's an interview with Mr. David Cronenberg himself explaining what he wanted his films to do.
I have no idea how people will respond to my work. That's the truth. I am making a movie first for myself and then for an audience. I don't really know what that audience is. And when it happened with Crash, I was delighted. I mean, it was the talk of the Quasette. I mean, it
Delighted.
was, you know, it was, well, yeah, because the last thing you want is to make a boring movie that everybody says is, it's fine, it's good, it's okay. I've never made a boring movie.
My experience watching Crimes of the Future, I wasn't quite sure how to feel.
But that's correct. That's the right way to feel.
And let's not overlook Crimes of the Future, Cronenberg's recent return to his roots. It's a love letter to his earlier works, explaining how humans evolve alongside or because of technology. The practical effects are still there, grotesque and beautiful in equal measure, proving that Cronenberg hasn't lost his touch. His practical effects are more than just movie magic. They're a tool for exploring the most uncomfortable truths about humanity, from the sticky, squirming transformation of the Fly to the mind-bending horrors of Videodrome. His work just doesn't scare, it lingers, crawling under your skin long after the credits roll. So the next time you see a slimy, unsettling transformation on screen, or a story that uses the human body as a canvas for deeper themes, take a moment to thank the Godfather of practical horror, David Cronenberg. Because without him, horror and cinema as a whole would look a lot less visceral. My name's Kevin, and I like to talk about things that I find interesting. Take care.